Welcome, everybody, to the future award-winning podcast, The Circle.
What award would we win?
Uh, there's going to be a lot of them out there. We got Black Man of the Year. I don't know. It's going to be great, though. The show is going to do wonderfully. And I had a question for you to kick things off. First, I want to say that the opinions that you hear are our own, and we do not represent anyone but ourselves. But why did you come up with The Circle?
Honestly, I think because that really reminded me about like how we all met. You know, me, you, James, Mac, and it really all started with obviously with us drinking, having a good time, happy hours and whatnot. But also, the circle also kind of represents to me, you know, our bond as friends and family, really, more than anything else. And so, to me, it kind of had a dual meaning. You know, we're doing it up here at the bar. We're having a couple drinks like we always do. But also, you know, we're having the conversations about, you know, us, our daily lives, things that affect us and things like that. So to me, it just kind of made sense.
It does. It's a beautiful one. I like it. And, of course, everyone's open to join us in The Circle. This is, like I said, the podcast 2. We got the first one out of the way, and we're going to nothing but shooting for the stars from here on out, right?
Let's do it.
All right. So, low-hanging fruit.
The low-hanging fruit
Yes.
of the week for sure.
What do you think about the Trump indictment?
I mean, besides the fact that a former president has been indicted on criminal charges for the first time in history, I'm surprised he's the first one. Honestly.
That's a good point.
I could think back to a few guys that probably should have been. Fucking Nixon comes to mind.
But he took the way out. He got pardoned.
Yep.
So he did not have to face those charges that were coming up. He resigned as president. So there you go. Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say that bottom line is whether he did do it or he didn't do it, the fact of the matter is that it's against the law what he did. Shouldn't matter whether he's a former president or a billionaire or whoever the fuck he is. He allegedly misappropriated campaign funds that were gifted to him and paid off a porn star to not talk about their sexual relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I know the entire thing is 100% politically motivated. I mean, he calls it a witch hunt, and honestly, rightly so. I mean, they've been gunning for him for a while, and I think they finally felt like that this was. And why start with this? I mean, why not the inciting January 6th or something like that? You know, why are you going to start with the hush money? That's one thing I don't understand. If you're going to indict the man, there's other low-hanging fruit out there. Honestly, that makes more sense to me besides this one. But this is the one, I guess, that they thought they could ramrod through fairly quickly, and they probably felt like they had the most evidence.
Well,
You know, personal testimony from her, things of that nature. So, I mean, I can't sit here and say that we didn't see it coming.
well, my view is this, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed at where we've come in as a country. I'm disappointed in him as a representative of our country. And you're right, it's probably politically motivated, but he gave them the gun and the ammunition to shoot him.
Yeah.
He made this possible because most politicians at least try to keep their stuff in the dark.
Yeah.
He openly does things. He doesn't give a damn what he said. If it's the truth or not, he's gonna do it. And so, hey, it's not only the quickest one that they can do, but it's also the limitations run out on it. So they had to get this one in front of the grand jury and bring it to
Before the statute of limitations.
before the
ran out.
statute of limitations
Yeah.
ran out, and so that's what they did. I'm sure nobody wants to be in the crosshairs of what the.
I think he lives for it.
No, I'm talking about the prosecutor and all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Nobody wants to be under that kind of crosshairs and what. I mean, the attack on their reputation, their families, all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure it wasn't something that they just were like, "Hey, I'm going to be famous for
Yeah.
this," because it's gonna ruin most of the people that.
Oh yeah, because we all know Trump, and he's out for blood now. I promise you that. So he's gonna take every opportunity he can to personally attack these people.
Yes, and so are his followers.
Oh, yeah.
So
And that's the crazy thing too. I can't believe I was listening to Breaking Points, and they said that when the indictment was announced that he was gonna get indicted, his poll numbers went up 10%. Literally, people like him more because he's gonna get criminally charged. It's fucking outrageous. I can't fathom what goes through some people's minds.
this has been what 6-7 years of Bizarro World.
It
I
is.
tell
It
you
is
that much.
the worst fucking reality TV show out there. It is. I really want a commercial to come on and just say, "Oh, by the way, we were just joking, everybody. Yeah, this has all just been for fun." But no, this is reality.
This is our reality right now.
And- This guy might still be our president. There is a very good
I'm
possibility
gonna take a drink.
that
My heart hurts.
that he gets the Republican nomination
And
while he's being fucking indicted.
and as you know, I used to be a Republican. I cannot say that it's just an abomination of the party, what it's become. It's like this, just like you said, a reality TV show where facts don't
Yeah.
matter. The law doesn't matter. What you say doesn't matter. They just make it up as they go along. And it's crazy. I want to believe in the country.
Yeah.
I love this country. I want to believe in it, but what's going on right now, and I'm talking about both sides because it's crazy on the left
Oh yeah,
and the
they've,
right.
They've both gone off the fucking rails at this point. It's ridiculous, and it's just it's us against them. This tribal mentality that the media is pushing, and that these politicians are pushing, and all it's doing is they're just inciting everybody to hate the other side.
Yes.
Nobody talks about common ground anymore. Nobody talks about, there's never dialogue anymore except for independent podcasts
Yes.
and independent radio shows. I feel like are the only media and the only voices that are getting out there these days that have any kind of sanity left to them. I mean, these guys like Breaking Points, like Rogan, guys like that. Have you ever listened to Russell Brand's podcast?
No, I have
It
not.
is so fucking awesome. You need to listen to Russell Brand's podcast. He is amazing. Anyways, guys like that, I feel like are the only voice that we have anymore as independents, as middle of the road people, to just try to get back to normal, man.
It feels
You know?
like we're the only ones that have sanity
Yeah.
left. It's just like everybody else is going insane, and you're watching this crazy documentary of some kind of.
It's gonna be. There will be documentaries about this. It'll be like the 2020s, you know, the COVID years when everybody lost their fucking minds.
And you're watching everything go crazy around you, and you're sitting there and you're going, all I want to do is get back to normal. And as soon as you open your mouth, somebody from the left or
Oh, yeah.
somebody from the right calls you crazy. You're the crazy one because
Or you're a racist.
yeah.
Or you're a misogynist. Or you're a gay basher. Or it's just pick an ostracized group, and if you have an opinion that's against their fucking narrative, then you're immediately this fucking hate speech and bullshit like that. It's ridiculous.
It is.
But I mean, talking about that, there's got to be a solution. I mean, what do you think? What can we do as your normal, average, run-of-the-mill, everyday Americans to try to move the needle more towards the center?
Well, that's the problem because people just don't listen to each other
Yeah.
anymore. We're the only ones that are listening um, to facts, to what's happening in the world, and are able to think clearly and go, hey, some of what you're saying is right, and some of what you're saying is right. If you just
Have a
talk-
conversation.
have a conversation,
Have the fucking conversation. Yeah.
just talk it out, man. Stop yelling at each other and getting upset. And I mean, it's okay to be passionate about things. I get that. I'm passionate about some things, as you know, but you still have to have a moment of clarity where you sit down and listen to the other person. At least know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So
I agree, and I think, I mean, really all we can do is what we're doing right now, is have the conversation, whether or not it's just between me and you, or me, you, and one of our other friends, or people we've never met before. You know,
Yes.
have the tough conversations. People are so scared these days, and they're walking on eggshells because they're afraid of getting canceled, or
Yes.
something like that. So nobody is willing to talk about the hard subjects anymore, and to really try to get to the bottom of what's truly wrong with this country. And so I think we're doing everything we can be doing right now.
Yeah.
Is just sitting down, having a conversation. If you disagree with somebody, that's fine. You're gonna disagree with them, but don't hate them. They're not your enemy. If in reality, the enemy is the people that are pushing the narrative, the media, the politicians. They're the bad guys. And so we've got to stand up for ourselves and find the solution ourselves, because they're not going to fucking
They're not going to do it. You
They're
can't count on the
they're
government
driving
to
this
do it.
train straight off the fucking tracks. You know what I mean?
And before we go any further, I'd like for you to, if you viewing us on Facebook or listening on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe. Come on, get with us. We're going on a good journey here. So
I agree.
please,
I agree.
please give us that backing.
Well, that's a good conversation about that, and I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see where that one's gonna go.
Well, I'm sure it's not the last time we'll talk about it. If I could go back and if he would just go away,
Oh, it'd be, but
just go. You had your time.
yeah,
Go into some corner, drop all the charges, quit hassling the man, and you just go away and shut the fuck up. I don't have to hear you anymore. I don't have to see you. I don't want anything. It'd make the country 100%
100%
better.
better. But think about this. So let's rewind back to 2016. What do you think, or how do you think the country would be if Hillary would have won?
Phew. Oh, man. Wow. You pulled that one out, didn't you? Oh, my God.
That's a legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question. I think it'd be in the hell in a handbasket, baby.
Exactly.
Good Lord.
And that's the problem with the two-party system. And I think we've about fucking kicked this dog to death. But we don't have a voice anymore.
Yeah.
It's the far left and it's the far right, and they're the only ones with the voice. They're the only ones with the fucking ticket to the show. And you sit down, in November, and you get that fucking ballot in your hands, and you're just staring at two people.
I know.
You don't have any other fucking option.
You know what I did in 2016? I wrote in a candidate because I was like, no.
Mickey Mouse, Homer Simpson.
No, it was actually I can't remember what her name was, but it was a black Republican woman.
Oh, is it the one from Hawaii?
Yeah, I think so.
Not Candace Owens. What the hell's her? I know exactly who you're
Okay,
talking about.
yes,
No, she's fucking awesome.
yeah.
I love her.
And so, but I was not going down with Trump and
No.
Hillary. There was no way. You got to give me some better like that. That's like the what was it what is the cartoon with the kids in kindergarten? South Park.
South Park.
The South Park episode where douche and what was it? Your choices.
Oh, it was a
between-
shit sandwich and a douche.
douche, yeah.
Those are your choices for class president.
Yes, that's what I was looking at the ballot like. I was
That's
like,
about right. That's about right.
how can South Park be the voice of reason? I don't know. But
You know
here
what's
we are.
funny is that recently they have been. It's out of line. they did the episode a couple weeks ago of Harry and Meghan on their apology, or like no apologies tour or whatever it was.
Okay.
It was fucking hilarious, dude. We just want to be left alone. We just want to be left alone. It's fucking awesome.
All right. Well, you're right. We kicked that one all the way down
Yep.
all the way down the street, and you made a field goal with that last one. Wow. What do you think the country would have been like if Hillary would have won?
I mean, look at it this way. I don't think we would have had the January 6th thing. I think if Trump would have lost, I think he maybe would have just sort of faded into the background for 4 years. Obviously, he would have run again in 2020. But with that being said, I don't think Hillary would have made a very good president at all. I mean, she's a evil fucking person. So who knows? I mean, I'm sure she would have found some way to get us in some sort of bullshit conflict somewhere.
I 100%
Kind of like what
agree
Biden's
with
doing
you.
right now, slowly inching us closer and closer to fucking World War III. So we got that going for us.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to avoid what's going on with Russia right now, but the Sleepy Joe or whatever you call him, he's not helping the situation at all. All right, what you got next, brother?
So I was reading an article today. It was really interesting. I think it was a Forbes article, and myself and James, our brother, we've been talking a lot lately about retirement, things like that. You know, neither one of us, and I'm sure I've spoken with you about it as well, none of us want to work till we're fucking 72, 75 years old. I mean, you want to get out and enjoy the fucking late years of your life. You don't want to retire from work and then have all these health problems, and so you're not able to travel and you're not able to do the things you want to do. So the goal is, man, to retire as early as possible. Yeah. So what the article did was they interviewed, it's like 4 or 5 different retired couples, and each couple had a different total retirement income. I think ranged from like $800,000 to like $200,000. And it was really interesting to kind of see the differences as far as, you know, their lifestyles, their budgets, things of that nature, and kind of how they were living through their retirement years. And it just made me think about, you know, obviously you've got about 10 years on me, so retirement's pretty heavy on your mind, I know for a fact.
Yes, sir.
And so you're going to get there earlier than me. But the question I wanted to pose is, how much money do you think you're going to need? Like, call it a nest egg. When you reach that retirement age and you know that you're not going to have any more steady income coming in besides what you've built through your work years and through your military service.
Well, the one thing that I will say, if you only have $200,000 in your nest egg, you should not be retired.
You're fucked.
You are screwed.
You are one heart attack away from being broke. 100%.
100%.
You might as well tell the doctor when you go in there, just fucking put a bullet in me, bro. Fucking just get it over with.
Because you the things that I've heard, I know, and I'm not going to say, you know, exactly how much I have in my retirement, but it's a good amount. I get to retire in 3 years. So,
Nice.
So, and for you guys that don't know me, I'm 52, and so 3 years will be 55. And so that'll be way before I draw Social Security. You should never count on Social Security either.
No.
Don't know if it's going to be there for you. But
It's probably not going to be there for you. Probably almost guarantee that shit.
my mom, bless her heart, passed away recently, and I was looking at, she retired at 54 as a teacher, and now that she's passed away, I looked, and she was retiring off of like $4,000 a month. And that is hard. That is hard. It's hard to survive off of that much. But off the teacher's retirement, she was able to get all of her medical and everything paid for.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things, is what kind of medical benefits that you're going to have from your job, if you're going to have any, once you retire. Because if you like Medicare, Medicaid, again, it's a hard living.
Yeah. If it's again, if that's even there, I mean, I know it's they're talking about possibly either more cuts to Social Security and to Medicare, if not eliminating them and privatizing them, and it's like that makes no fucking sense. I
Yeah.
mean, I know people have their issues with Social Security and with Medicare, but at this point, those systems are firmly entrenched, and there's a lot of people that rely on that shit, and
Yes.
currently relying on having that money when they retire. I mean, I think I can think of one person for sure. That's going to be the only retirement money he has. It's his Social Security, because he's worked his whole life as a truck driver. None of the companies he ever worked for really had any sort of a 401k plan set up for him.
Yes.
So he's going to be relying completely on that Social Security income.
Yes,
And
that's what he's waiting for.
yeah, and if they cut that, or they push the retirement age back farther.
Yes.
I mean, by the time I'm able to retire, if I was just relying on my Social Security, I might be fucking 85 years old before they let me fucking draw my Social Security.
and you have better chances of becoming a millionaire than
Oh, yeah.
better chances of becoming a millionaire than living to 80.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
what?
especially with my hard living.
Why do I feel like we just left here?
I know, right? This place looks awfully familiar.
By the way, we are at 685 Backyard doing this wonderful show. And you can-
Beautiful Pflugerville, Texas.
yes, and if you want to, come on by and say hello. We are open to hearing your side of stories, your point of view, your perspective on life. That's what we want to have here. But back to the topic. What kind of health care are you going to have? What is your health care for the job that you?
So currently, I mean, I know that you know, but I just recently switched jobs. So moving on to not a new career. I'm still in construction, but I'll be working from the owner's side instead of from the general contractor side. And I haven't really got a lot of information on the healthcare plan, but I do know that it's fully funded by the company.
Okay.
So me as just a single male, mine is 100% covered. Now I don't know if there's any sort of coverage after I retire.
Okay.
I haven't got that information yet, but honestly, probably not.
That's a very important thing. Some people ask why I worked for the state
And
for so long.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of that, most of your state, federal employees, that's a bonus that y'all get. Not a lot of private companies offer that sort of coverage.
And that's where we take a cut and pay
Mm-hmm.
for the benefits that we get later on in life. And that's why I stayed, 22 years now.
Yeah.
So that's the reason. I'm not going to get a huge retirement, but with my military pension also, that makes it livable for me.
Yeah.
So I'll be bringing home about $6,000 a month, which is
I mean, I think $6,000 a month that's probably pretty close to what you're
Yeah.
bringing home right now as a working, person. So that's I think you're going to be okay. But I really feel like, and especially with obviously the inflation bug and
yes.
just the cost of living, it's never going to go down. You know what I mean?
I
And so
probably will not be able to live in the Austin area.
yeah, no, I don't believe so. But I mean, for me, I don't even know if. So I'm 39 years old. So I've got another. I'm hoping my goal is to be able to retire by 60. That's my
Yes.
goal.
That's a good goal.
I don't want to be working in my 70s. So 20 years, and in 20 years, I don't think $1 million is going to be enough. I really don't.
That's about where you should be today
Yeah.
if you retire.
Today, if your nest egg is 800 to $1 million, I feel like you're okay.
Yeah.
You probably
If you want to do more than just survive.
yeah,
Yes.
then just live. If you actually want to go out, travel, do some things like that, then yeah, you're gonna need something around there. But to me, man, I don't know in 20 years if $1 million is gonna cut it.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I agree with you. I don't think it is. And what do we do? What do we do to build that nest egg up?
Well, I think obviously the best bet is the market. I mean, that's really all there is. And the question is, okay, well, how aggressive are you? So I was self-employed. I owned my own business for a long time, and I only really got into the workforce when I was, I guess, 36. So
Okay.
that's when I was 36 years old, and when I was finally able to actually start saving for retirement. So I'm going to have 25 years to try to get to $1 million. Okay, well, with compound interest, obviously, there's an equation out there. Haven't personally done it yet, but the math can be done to say I need to be putting away this amount of money every year and hoping for this amount of return every year to get to that goal.
Yes.
I haven't done that math yet, but I know it's out there. To me, through my company right now, so I'll be putting away 5%.
Okay.
And they match 50% at 5%. So with that, and then I've started my own Charles Schwab account. And that's something my dad actually taught me. My dad actually had 3 retirement accounts. And he's a success story. Now, he did work till he was 70, but he was able to save up almost $1 million in 30 years. He didn't start saving for his retirement until he was 40. But he was able through smart investing, and even through to the downturn in 2008, and that was rough. I mean, I think he said that he lost half his retirement in 2008. But you know what they say, it's not timing the market, it's time in the market. So no matter what, you got to keep putting money in.
Yes.
You can't get scared. You can't pull it out. Now, you don't have to be Wolf of Wall Street, crazy aggressive in your investing. That's probably not the smartest idea. But if you're just sensible, I feel like with your investments, you shoot for that.
How is your pull-out game, by the way?
I mean, it's been a little while, so it's probably rusty. I'll be honest with you. It's probably a little rusty. I'm not sure my timing is quite there. But we can work on it. It's like anything else. Practice makes perfect, right?
There you go. I digress. My father was very good in the market also, and part of his big thing was real estate. So owns a bunch of houses and sold them at the right time. So he retired at 56, and he does part-time work now, but he does what he enjoys. He gets to travel, all those kinds of things. So he worked for the state for a while also. So he's got the double retirement there.
See, and that's sometimes I wish I would have gone that direction, because it's nice to know you've got that guarantee. You know, when you work for the state or you work for the federal government or anything like that. Obviously, times are a little leaner while you're working, but you've got that peace of mind at the end of the road.
Yes.
And for a lot of people, they don't have that. I, myself included. Right now, it's still a work in progress for me. So, but I think what I'd like to do is let's see if we can get our brother James on the phone. Since we've had a lot of myself and him have had a lot of conversations about this topic, so let's see if we can get a hot take.
All right,
from brother James. We'll also be testing out our capabilities here.
Ooh, that's loud.
Bring that down a little bit. If he picks up.
Oh man,
he might be taking a nap. He's a professional napper on the weekends. Call
forward. Has been forwarded to an
How dare you? All right, folks. Well, he's either taking a nap or he's taking a shit. So
he may be doing both.
Probably taking both. That takes talent right there.
Oh man, I almost did it last night. Here we go. So to continue that conversation, yes, I've, like I said, both of my parents worked the system. One teacher, one with the state. Different kind of retirements. My mom didn't do much. She stayed home, but that's the kind of retirement she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, she traveled too. Well, I'm wrong. Let me get this straight. So she did have enough money to travel because she went to Egypt and went to Greece and all that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what you want to be able to do some things in your retirement that make your life fulfillable, enjoyable, and not sitting back eating cat food
Yeah.
or nothing like that.
I mean, that's that bucket list right there. I mean, you want to do the things that you weren't able to do when you were working. Obviously, by the time you retire, if you have kids, the kids are grown, they're off doing their own things. So, in the adulting world, you've done your job. You know what I mean? You've been in the workforce, you've raised your kids at that point, and you want to be able to do the things that you couldn't do in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. And so, when people don't have that nest egg, it's sad. It really is.
Yeah.
It sucks because I feel like everybody should get that opportunity because everybody's got hope, dreams. Everybody has things that they want to do when they retire, and when you're not able to do that or your health isn't, up to par to the point where you can travel or do whatever you need to do, it sucks.
Yeah, and on the other side of that coin, my stepfather, he was going to retire when he was 70. He was like, "I'll retire when I'm 70."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dude, you need to take it easy, relax. Turned 70, and 2 weeks later he died. So,
Jesus Christ.
so you want to. We don't know how much time we have, so working your entire life.
Yeah.
Is not something that, unless you want to. I mean, but I think you retire and get a part-time job if you want to keep working.
I mean, 100%. And I know, like, my father, hardest working man I've ever known in my whole entire life. And he retired and just kept working. He just, he works. He has his cows. We grew up on a small ranch outside of Pflugerville. So dad's still doing the cows thing, doing, his little pet projects around the house. But they're also traveling. They're going to Alaska this summer. Him and Mom are. So it makes me very happy to see them getting that opportunity and to know that they still have their health and that they were smart in their investments. At least my dad was. My mother, not so much. So they're able to do the things that they want to do now that they've accomplished their mission as far as, life goes. So.
Good talk, brother. Let's go to baseball. Opening day was 3 days ago?
Opening day was Thursday, man.
Thursday,
And I'll be honest with you. So, I was always been a huge football fan, and I've always said, baseballs, I like seeing it live, but I'm not really, into watching it on TV. But past couple of years, I've really found myself gravitating more towards, kind of moving away from football and gravitating more towards baseball as my preferred sport to watch.
Wow. That's interesting.
It's a hot take right there.
I know.
Hot take.
Burn me up a little bit. Let's hear it.
And I mean, I think a little bit of it's because obviously we're in Texas, so we've got the Astros. The Astros are fucking hot. Best team in the league, probably top 2 teams for sure. So it's always nice to have, when you're backing a winning team, things are always a little bit better. And obviously our Texas football, whether it be college or professionals, hasn't had the best run in the past 10, 15 years. So
I like this. Get out there on
yeah.
that. Get out
Oh,
there on
dude,
that
I will
plank.
happily admit that A&M has underperformed any expectations, except for the COVID season where we won 10 games. Whoop-de-fucking-do, big fucking deal. But no, and I think it's a combination of, to me, the football, it just isn't the same game. I mean, obviously, when we were growing up, it was a totally different sport. I mean, it's the Iron Men, the gridiron legends out there. Like, I mean, I grew up on Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, and the tough Charles Haley. Like, these dudes were out there just beating the shit out of each other, legitimately. And now it's,
Flag football?
yeah, put them in fucking tutus. It's pathetic. I mean, obviously, the DeMar Hamlin injury this year shows that obviously it's still a very physical and can be a very dangerous sport. But I think a lot of that is also, it's the guys just aren't the same. The physicality isn't the same as it was back then. You know what I mean? You don't have guys bleeding like J.J. Watt, bleeding from his fucking face and still out there just hammering dudes, And so, and to me,
What do you think is it the money?
100%.
All right.
I think it's the money. And also, I saw a really interesting, I think it was a short on Facebook, and it showed there was a couple of wide receivers that literally go catch the ball and they just fall down. They don't want to get hit. I mean, and I get it. Look, if you're making $30 million a year and all that money is completely dependent upon your physical attributes to play this sport, and you being healthy and having longevity in the game means you get to accrue more money. I get it. I would be trying to stay as healthy as possible too, and I wouldn't want to get my fucking head knocked off by a safety, blindside. So I get it, but it's kind of taken a little bit out of the game for me.
Okay.
And so, with baseball, I feel like, and especially now with the new pitch clock, it makes it a little bit more palatable to watch on TV. The games are a little bit quicker, everything's kind of moving. And also, you can talk to, I've seen tons of interviews, especially with so there's a really interesting one with Deion Sanders. And the guy asked him, what's the hardest sport you played? He was a dual sport athlete, professional
If you
baseball.
guys don't know who Deion Sanders is, he was a professional football player and a professional baseball player at an extremely high level.
Oh, yeah. He was probably one of the, I would say him and Bo Jackson, probably two of the most talented athletes to ever come out of American sports, I would say 100%. But Deion said baseball. Baseball was the hardest sport, and it's 100%. It's when you're trying, I don't think people get how difficult it is to hit a baseball.
Have you ever tried to hit a 98-mile-an-hour fastball?
The last time I was at the batting cages, it was throwing me like 45 to 50, and I was hardcore whiffing, bro. I was fanning them motherfuckers.
I got a couple of 90s when I was in Arizona, but it wasn't because of talent. It was because I just guessed right.
Just pure luck. Yeah.
But I could hit them in the 70s and 80s, but it's
when they're throwing a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, you have to start your swing mechanics before the ball even leaves the pitcher's hand.
yes.
So you're already in motion, which means in that whatever second or two it takes for that ball to come from the pitcher to the catcher, you have to determine what type of pitch it is,
Yes.
where it's going, and adjust accordingly mid-movement
Yes, you do.
to hit that ball. It is, to me, hitting a baseball at the professional level is the hardest thing to do in professional sports.
That's what the experts say.
People can say golf all they want to, and I've never played golf personally, but I've heard plenty of people cuss up and down about how hard it is to play golf. And I still think that hitting the baseball is
that golf ball is right there. It ain't going.
It's not going anywhere. But getting it to go where you want it to go,
Yes,
that's the hard part.
And if you've ever played golf, once you hit that, you can curse up and down and be like, I hate this, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Once you get a clean hit off that ball,
Oh, yeah.
it's like love making.
I was about to say you're going home and fucking your wife.
It is so special. You go out there, and I'm out there in the yard practicing.
Like an eagle at par 5, you call your wife right out and say, baby, you better put that sexy lingerie on because daddy's coming home hot.
Now, my take on the baseball, and I know you weren't quite finished with where you're going with it. I grew up a little bit differently. I grew up in St. Louis, and so St. Louis is a baseball town.
Oh, yeah.
So I grew up going to games, because they were cheap and the parents could let us run around in the stadium. It wasn't always packed, so
Yeah.
we'd run around collecting
You get
cups,
nice
all kinds of
afternoon games. Yeah.
keeping the score and doing all the different things you do. So I was used to being in that stadium for hours and hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did that translate to me watching it on TV? When I want to take a nap, I'll throw on the St. Louis
I was about to say baseball or
game,
NASCAR.
and I will take a snooze. But I have not watched it with the pitch clock yet. I'm going to have to check that out and see what it's like.
We were watching Thursday, and it definitely, man, those games are flying by now. It's crazy because they've got, so basically from the moment the pitcher sets, so the moment he's on the mound, he sets himself, 15 seconds. That's what he's got to throw the ball. And so you've got to think about, the interaction between the pitcher and the catcher. They've got to figure out what pitch, where it's going to go. So all that's got to happen a lot faster. And so to me, not only does it speed the game up, makes it a little bit more palatable to watch, but also it kind of changes the dynamic. So these guys, they've got to make these decisions on the fly. And so they have to adjust what they've been doing for their entire career.
And you have to think of the physicality of the pitcher, what he's going through now, he doesn't get all that time to rest in between pitches. He's got to go. I think it'll not only speed up the game, but it'll improve the hitting probably, because the pitchers are going to get tired quicker, and the watchability, like you said, it'll be more tolerable, because those 5-hour games.
20 innings.
No.
No, and I didn't. That's actually a really good point. I didn't think about the fact that, this rule probably will produce more offense, and the game has really gone. It's been a pitcher's game, I feel like, especially since, sabermetrics and the spin rate and all that sort of stuff that these guys are figuring out. They're putting the science to the game now, and these pitchers are coming out with some of the nastiest looking shit I've ever seen.
Some of the nastiest junk.
I mean, you watch the movement on some of these guys, these young guys coming out now, and you're just like, how are you? It's like fucking magic. They are wizards. They're like a baseball, man. It's crazy.
So you're going to be watching a lot of baseball this season.
I think so, man. I mean, obviously, I don't really watch a lot of television, period.
Yeah.
I'm more of when I get home from work, I'm a video game type of guy. So
and you like to read, too.
Yeah. Do some reading, do a little research. Gotta get my podcast research in every week. But, yeah, no, when I do, obviously pop up to the bar for a happy hour or something like that. You watch some baseball for sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm not that big of a reader. I don't read too good.
I don't read so good.
But I'm going to check out the baseball. Let me ask you this: college or pro? What's your take on college versus pro sports?
I mean, you kind of have to sit here and look at the landscape these days. Now, if you would have asked me that question 10 years ago, I'd have said college all day long. It always seems like these college players are out there. They got more to play for. They got more heart in it. And this always seems like the college games, there's more on the line. You know what I mean? These guys are playing for their careers.
And I'm going to go back to what you said, what we talked about before. I think it's the money. Once so much money was poured into the players, and they deserve it. I mean, if people are watching and going to pay for the game, they deserve the money. Not going there.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, I think that changed the pro game for me in watching it.
Yeah.
When everybody at the end of every game was hugging and signing each other's jerseys and kissing and all. I was like, I'm tired. I want them to want to beat the crap out of that other player, beat the crap out of that team.
Yeah, where's the competition? I mean, it seems like there's not that drive, that competitive drive anymore in professional sports, especially basketball. God, pro basketball's so fucking hard to watch now, man. It's so hard to watch now. These guys don't give a shit. And you got LeBron James making fucking, I don't know how much, $100 million a year, whatever he's making. The dude's a billionaire. And he's just walking up and down the court, not even dribbling the damn ball anymore.
No. You reminded me of we were watching the women's
the women's Final Four.
Yeah. How was that to watch?
God almighty. That was painful. That one was very painful.
It's almost as painful as the NBA. I mean, I used to love watching the NBA. Yeah. I'll watch it at maybe the semifinals.
Yeah, it was like playoffs. Yeah, for me, that's
maybe the
only NBA I will ever watch.
And why even have an all-star game in any sport now?
Those are so outdated at this point. The guys don't give it. Just make the all-star. Okay, so just say, okay, you made the all-star team. You don't need to play the game. You're an all-star. Congratulations.
Yes,
you know what
give them the check for that bonus for making the all-stars, and wrap it up. Don't show me this filth
I don't need
anymore.
to see professional football players playing fucking flag football in Hawaii. That is,
or the talent part. I like the new talent stuff.
That stuff is cool. I agree.
The
100%.
skills.
The skills. Yeah, the skill stuff. That is cool. And I mean, I think they get more enjoyment out of that as players, putting their skills to the test and having the bragging rights of saying, "Well, look at there."
Oh.
All right, folks. So, Brother James,
what it do?
What's up, buddy? So we were having a conversation on the podcast, and we thought we'd get you to call in for a hot take from you. You got a couple seconds?
Well, the good thing about podcasts is you can't delete them, so I'm there with you.
So we've kind of
Well,
moved on, but we'll circle back to it. So what me and Aubrey were talking about was,
And hello, James.
yep, brother Aubrey says hi.
Hey, Aubrey, hey, real quick before we get too far ahead, I did have a chance to listen to you guys' first podcast endeavor, and man, that's 5 stars. A+.
Thanks, brother.
No, hey, trust me. I mean, like, it's not. If you don't know, you don't know, and just picking it up and going for it. I didn't run for the radio and try and turn it off. So
I was about to say you handed out a couple extra stars really easy there. Let us earn those extra couple stars.
no, it was good, man. So tops off. Here.
I mean, as long as you weren't sitting there saying these dumb motherfuckers, they can shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't saying it. I was probably thinking.
Probably.
It,
I mean, I'm thinking it right now, honestly. So
Well, the alcohol makes it better.
it always helps. Yep.
it's all good. Well, I will time box myself, Brad. I'll give you guys like a hot 5 minutes.
Hey, you know
Because
what?
no
That's-
fun if it's not seeing everyone's reactions.
That's all we need, brother.
I'm making faces right now. So,
That's all we need.
all
So
right, what's up?
the reason I was calling you is because I know me and you have had this conversation many times at the house, just hanging out. But we were talking about retirement, investments, things of that nature. And I know that's been a big thing for you this past year or two. You've really started to concentrate on your retirement savings and having an end game. So we were talking about how much money do you think you're gonna need as far as a nest egg goes to be able to live the way you want to live and do whatever you want to do when you retire, whether that be traveling or moving somewhere else. What's your number?
Oh dear. Yeah, I'm bad at these. I think if I can, I'll switch it around a little bit. In doing this, it might help me answer. I think you really have to. What's your goal?
Yeah.
Like, what's your personality and like who are you and none of these are right or wrong.
Mhm.
So you take it as you will. Are you the person that likes hotels, first class, yachts, balling,
Living
product?
the high life.
Yeah.
Falling
Are
out
you-
of control, going to strip
Yeah.
clubs, making
Yeah,
it
yeah.
rain.
Are you the guy that can get by, just kind of low key camping, or just I like going out to fine dining, but
Mhm.
I like my fast food and hanging out in an open bar with a beer, wearing shorts and a t-shirt. So, I mean, it really comes down to what your level of comfortable is. I think my level of comfortable is probably higher than most,
Mhm.
but it doesn't mean that that's right. There's cats out there that that they've taken $300,000 to $400,000 and they've put it into the right fund that generates a dividend that gives them the amount of money they need for a year.
Yeah.
They retire at 35, 40. So
Just living off those dividends at that point.
yeah, so
That's that.
I mean,
That's that Warren Buffett style right there. Once you get to that point, so do you think? I mean, I want to say I watched a YouTube video with you at the house at some point in time, and it was saying that $1 million would basically get you a dividend of, I think, what was it, about $50,000 a year, something like that? Is that right?
yeah, I mean it would be around that.
Yeah.
Not to get too technical on the call, but you have to think. Depending on where you invest it,
Mhm.
dividends are classified as earned income.
Yeah.
So you'd have to pay for a CPA on top of that to find all those loopholes like the rich people do. But for all intents and purposes, you are correct.
Yeah.
Like,
All right. Yeah.
You'd be $5 million.
Well, that's interesting. So I think in closing, we'll let you go after this one. But just from your point of view, do you think that let's say $1 million, and let's just say it's I'm a middle class American, and I want to do some traveling, but for the most part, I'm just gonna hang out with my grandkids, do that thing when I retire. Do you think $800 to $1 million, you think that would be enough in your opinion for a nest egg? Is that a good goal, you think, for some people?
Well, I don't give out opinions, Brad. You know that. It's probably not wise for me to say anything like that where they can pull it up suggestion wise. But I would say this, like, don't stop investing and don't stop saving. Like, whatever that means. Like, don't get to a number and say, okay, I'm comfortable.
Done. Yeah.
Now I can, like, more is always going to be better for you because once you get older, there's costs that you're going to have to accrue that you wouldn't have to in your younger years. Like, you won't be buying ibuprofen for $10 anymore. You'll be buying that old man's juice, which costs like $50. You know, kind of getting up to where I'm at.
So you're saying I should factor in my Hims subscription into my retirement savings?
Diapers.
If you're already there, Brad, I know I'm there.
You know,
but damn,
those bed covers.
Give me some of them boner pills.
Yeah, all of that. But yeah, I would say your number isn't horribly off, but I also would say with inflation, everything just shoot for higher.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I think that's kind of the consensus we came to earlier too. Is that you can't really say that right now because in 20 years, 30 years, God knows what the cost of living is going to be, and with inflation, things of that nature. Shit, I mean, you might need $10 million in fucking 30 years to be able to have a comfortable retirement. There's no telling. So, like you said, I think that's a good take. That no matter what, just keep investing, just keep putting that money away. So.
And there's always the sugar mama and sugar daddy route. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Big game,
Jack.
Big game. That is why I love talking to you because you always give us that perspective that we were not looking at. That I did not think about the sugar mama aspect. If I could bank a couple of extra $1,000 on that. I might be able to travel anywhere I want to go.
I mean, she'll probably pay for your Hims subscription.
Like I said, it depends on how your pullout game is.
You know I love you, boys. Hey, it don't matter how you got there. The fact that you're there is good enough.
Exactly. We won't talk about the journey. We won't talk about the journey.
Yes. Thank you so much, Big Game.
Hey, right on. Hey, miss y'all. Y'all doing awesome, and I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Yep. Bye.
Later.
All right, let's put a bow on this motherfucker.
I think so. That's a good way to end it right there. We popped the cherry on James, got him on here a little bit, so I know people were super excited to hear from James. The anticipation was killing y'all.
Where is James? He's at home living the big life.
Yep, he's chilling.
Big game James. All right, brother. Well, this has been episode 2 of The Circle, and I think this was a good one, baby. I know the first one everybody says was all right, but I think we're growing in this. Y'all let us know how we're doing. If y'all want some chat questions or anything you want to talk about, put those in the chat, and we will talk about them next week.
Absolutely. All right. Well, cheers, folks.
Cheers.